Welcome to Drinkin Bros, presented by BlackRifleCoffee.com.
Whoa! Welcome to Drinkin Bros. Welcome to Drinkin Bros.
It's going to be my favorite one of the week.
Favorite one of your life.
Favorite one of my life.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a guy on the show named Brandon Rogers. I just became familiar with his work. Sometimes there's people in this world where you look at the internet and you see somebody's videos or work or a movie or something they've done, and you immediately fall in love with them of like, oh my God, this guy is a fucking genius. It's so rare that when you find it, you're like, I got to get him. I got to get the guy.
I would say the last time was Freddie.
Yes.
Like, there was Freddie, and now there's Brandon.
Well, now there's me.
Now there's you, Brandon.
And I have to say, thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure. And it's a pleasure that's mine.
Yeah. Jared, like, you were his fucking king ding-a-ling. And
oh, my.
so finally, when we got here, he was like, man, I got to get this one guy on the show, whatever. And I hadn't heard of you. And he was like, dude, let me pull up his videos. There was about 12 of us over here partying, and literally 12 strangers. Most of us are comedians. We're drinking a bunch of weed. Everything's out.
That's the best kind of setting to introduce my work.
Yes. And so somebody even remarked that. They were like, oh shit, you got weed out? Great. You're going to love this guy. And I was like, all right, cool. Popped it up on the big screen, and you were one of those people, I think, we all got entranced.
We were silent,
like just dying laughing, and every single person around the room was like, "This guy's a fucking genius. This guy's a fucking genius." And I was like, "Get him on the show." But 40 minutes of like YouTube videos in a row, just watching all of your shit.
That is the equivalent of 40 minutes of meth to your brain.
Yes.
You're not going to get those brain cells back, and I apologize.
It felt like the craziest Adult Swim show never made.
Oh, thank you. Well, someone had to make it.
Yeah.
I'm a huge consumer of the internet and what's funny and I like to make the stuff that I wish, the stuff that's in between the cracks that I wish was there and isn't quite there yet. That's where I try and I fill that crack. I try to. Yeah,
because I do. He does. That's probably why we became best friends. We're all super non-PC people, where it's just like if we can push it, we'll push it. Like it's hard as it'll go. When I saw yours, I was like, oh, there's that other level. Like that.
We're a dying breed. We really are a dying breed. I think we were just talking earlier. YouTube is becoming it's the Disney Channel.
Yes.
And it's hard to make a name for yourself on something that is always going to be glass ceilinged as the Disney Channel. You're never going to be able to quite bust out of that, and so it's
depressing, isn't it?
It's a little depressing. It's a little because there's no there's no new tube that's letting us do this in between content.
But it's opening the door up for that, and I guarantee you somebody. Yes. Vimeo is on some weird track, like they could do it, but they're busy.
Vimeo, I sat down with their execs at a lunch. They wanted Range 15, and they were trying to do a pay-per-view model.
Oh.
And it was like, hey,
see, like
the
direction is
doing
wrong.
That.
But the window is open right now for taking
for one company
for somebody to come in and go, great, we're the new YouTube. We don't care what you do.
Just post it and make it awesome.
Yeah, we shouldn't have to. I'll get videos removed because language or something. A baby doll getting shat on with fake poop. It's like, how seriously is the person behind the other end of this? Whoever's making these decisions, clicking that mouse. What process does this work have to go through to approve of them? And who are they to say that my work does or doesn't deserve to be? I mean, it's such a fine line. It's a middle ground, but. One we're not approaching very carefully, I don't think.
Where did you grow up, and who were your favorites growing up comedically?
Well, I grew up in Livermore, California, a very small town. I watched a lot of daytime television. I got to tell you, my favorite comedian, my idol growing up was Judge Judy. I always thought that
that was it. Yeah.
Here's the thing. I mean, she maintains a beautiful body. She works out every day. She gets to tell people no, fuck you all day long. It's the perfect job. She gets to yell at morons.
Yeah.
And she makes a fuckload of money.
Yeah, she's the richest on TV.
She is. Yeah. And I was always attracted to the idea of becoming someone who has so much authority. You really can't make fun of her. There's nothing to make fun of her about. And I like that untouchability of a celebrity. And so I've always been drawn to her, and somehow that funneled through what I do. I don't know. I like to think I channel her with everything I work on.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Like your hero is Judge Judy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh yeah.
And what made you move to LA and start doing videos.
Well, this is where all the work is. Everyone up in the Bay Area, and I'm sorry for anyone back home who's listening to this, but they're, in the entertainment-wise, they're lazy sacks of shit. They don't get anything done. Everything is for the art up there. Everything, oh, this film, it's beautiful. Let's make 3 years working on it, so to show it to a room full of 250 people, and that's all it needs to be seen to, because it's art.
And then we'll lock it in a closet.
We'll lock it away, and then it's the art. We must protect it. It's like an island of art. It's like the rest of the world doesn't know the artwork that the Bay Area makes, and they don't really have a concept of what the rest of the world's making. They seem quite isolated artistically. So L.A., I liked how everything is done very quickly. Everything is there's a drive down here that you don't see a lot of up. So I had to. It was either here or New York. And here it's New York, but way more laid back. I saw at Runyon Canyon, there's a graffiti of a Buddha statue on the ground that says "Unfuck yourself." Yeah. And I'm like, this would never be in New York City. And yet it feels so in place here. And so I love how laid back it is here. And yet at the same time, it's the perfect amount of let's get shit done that the Bay Area does not have. So that's why I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you able to make enough money off of YouTube that you don't have to have another job?
Oh, thank God! Yeah,
that's great.
Me quitting my job was one of the happiest days of my life. Even that my boss and I are still on good terms. He's one of my best friends today, and I keep in touch with him. But it was a beautiful day when I got to walk into his office and say, "I'm making enough money doing what I love." And this is it.
Yeah.
That is.
What kind of job was it?
I worked at a law firm for 3.5 years.
That's brutal. Were you a paralegal?
No, well, I still worked in video production. So what I did was, it was a law firm that
depositions and stuff like that.
Kind of. So like, let's say someone got injured. We did a lot of injuries and deaths. So if someone got injured, I would do a documentary surrounding, which is where my videos came from. It was a day in the life is what they were called, day in the life. So let's say you shattered a kneecap and I come to your house and I have to film how your life is burdened by this. And then I get to interview you. It cuts to, the confessionals where they're talking to the camera. Oh, well, I used to be able to pick up my grandkids. Now I can't do that. And they'd start crying and and it was a very depressing job.
Actors are real people.
Real people, because we'd show it to the jury, and they would be persuaded, and they'd vote, in our favor. And so I had to encapsulate a lot of people's misery and loss in a day in the life documentary. Which I thought, wouldn't this be hilarious if this was a comedy? Like if it was a day in the life of just a random person. No need to make this documentary. It's just how they live. And I thought, what if they were just a very fucked up kid? So that's where the characters came from. I started doing that.
Mom, is that where a day with Mom came from?
Yeah, all of them came from.
God, it's one of my favorites.
And I thought like, how great would it, because it was a format of shooting someone that I thought had the potential to be hilarious. It's just literally a documentary about them from waking up to going to bed. Nothing special.
God, that's great.
Yeah, that was just a great concept that I was drawn to.
And that's what took off for you on YouTube.
Yeah, and I never thought it would, because for the longest time I've always had doubts about this cloth of comedy. It's a comedy that's very underrepresented on YouTube. In fact, if I wasn't around, I wouldn't. There's very few other comedians on YouTube who are doing this, and so it's hard to think, breaking into it. Oh yes, this will be successful, because it's not.
You want to know something even funnier about this too? I don't know if you've tried this, but I did.
What's that?
Nobody can replicate you. So like if you look up rocket jump style video, Freddie Wong style video, anything. I've tried to find somebody that has tried to replicate what he does, and they can't.
No,
because it's too technical.
Well, but there's like shitty versions of you where it's like, and I don't want to throw this chick under the bus, but like that Lily Pons, she does some characters back. Are you friends with her?
I have no overlap with her as I know of.
Okay, good.
Lily, if you're listening to this, I don't know who you are, but I love you.
I don't either, but like, she's one of those people that she shows up in my feed.
Okay.
People you might like. And I'm like, man, I've never liked her shit. And I didn't know you existed. Now when I look back at it, it's like, man, it seems like she's trying to do a lot of the things that you're doing.
It's not.
Now that I know you and I think back to all the videos that I've seen, it's like, fuck, yeah.
My videos come from a very, very raw place. Like I was making videos. I've been doing it for like 10 years before I was noticed on YouTube, and so just these last 2 years, I've been a big channel. But before that, it was
you had the Neighborhood Watch.
I've had a.
I mean, he's gone through a massive physical transformation.
Yes, I've lost a lot of weight, and I converted it all into subscribers. But they're
Really? What you were heavier guy?
I was heavier is a light, no pun intended, statement.
Yeah.
I was a 260 pounds.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and so and once I started getting
Now he's got abs.
right now I do, yeah.
Do you really?
I do.
It's on
Wow,
Instagram.
look at that.
But yeah, once the channel started taking off, I knew that this was my first possible taste of fame, or it could be. So I was like, I'm not going to become famous fat. And
Yeah.
So I spent about a month and a half just hitting the gym twice a day and eating nothing but like meat and vegetables, and that weight just came off like butter.
Yeah,
It was
because famous, and we joke about it, but famous and fat is a thing where it's like, if you get fat, like if Jared ever got thin, it would be over for him. Like if he got shredded, nobody wants to see shredded Jared. It's kind of like Jonah Hill. You remember Jonah Hill?
Yes.
Where it was
the
just
fat
like,
curse.
like Jonah Hill himself when he got thin. The camera's right there. Jesus, man. Guy walking through like he's fucking Bigfoot, like one long stride.
It actually was Bigfoot, I'd like to say. I wish they
Yeah.
were here to see that.
Yeah, but when Jonah Hill got thin, it was like, oh,
It was like,
your movies aren't fine. I don't
He's
buy
not
this.
gonna be funny anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew that going into it too. I was like, I don't want to suddenly be known looking like, I don't want to be, and so luckily I lost the weight right before the videos that I really am known for today came out. Like those, the mom one, Helen, all those. I did that right when I lost all the weight. And so I was like, thank God.
You had to look good in that pink jumpsuit.
It's like, and what's funny is that those characters are the worst I've ever looked, like appearance wise. I just make myself look horrible, but you feel a little bit more confident when those clothes come ripping off and you're running naked through a store. It's like, because me running naked through places happens very frequently.
Yeah.
And
You're British guy.
yeah.
That one's that one's my favorite. Can you just do a sample of that British guy?
Well, his teeth are part of what make the voice. I would have thought so. It kind of talks like this, and he talks very refined, like a normal British person would.
But you're screaming at people in
Oh,
British
Hi,
too.
yes, I'm British.
Yeah.
Shitling.
Yeah, Hitlingthorpe and Corkwaddle. I always try and make names that sound a little bit phallic, but also sound very British.
Yeah.
Corkwaddle and I forget the rest of them. Fuckworth, Mingeworthy or whatever.
Yeah.
William.
But
So with this background directing and editing these law videos, that had to have helped you do these YouTube videos.
Yeah,
Because there's your sketches, there's so much editing. There's so, because you're playing your own characters back and forth.
And we'll have to show him an example of this after this one.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't seen the intertwine yet, like the connection.
Of all the things,
where there's an intersection in one video and then another video, it's coming from the other side of that intersection. It's fucking deep,
And it's all
so
intentional,
many
right?
fucking layers to this shit. Like,
I don't know where it came from. The mythologies. Well, you do one character video, and then that character becomes a classic, and then like 3 videos later, you reference the classic one, thinking, "Oh, they'll get a kick out of me reference." But then you realize you're slowly stitching together a mythology. Because now these videos are referencing each other, and then you have to stick to the mythology. Oh, well, that's impossible because she's in this video said she doesn't have any kids, so she could never have a flashback where she did. And it becomes much more easy to follow than you think. The more you build it, it's like building a Lego house. It keeps building and building, and you remember every room that's in there, and the audience does too. But it looks so complicated from far away. And so,
well, it's like even one of the first big videos, The Day with Mom, where the mom character looks to the neighbor and says hello to Donna. Well, Donna becomes a character later down the road.
That's great.
And he does the same callback at his celebration video, A Day at the Park, where the mom character addresses Donna.
Yeah. And would you say that's part of the success of gaining subscribers because they want to see these characters again?
I think it's just I think it's a nice garnish to it. I really think that when people come to my channel and I'm could be speaking incorrectly here, but I think they really are subscribing more so to the formula that the videos bring them. They're quick laughs, they're colorful, they're bright, they're absurd, and they're things that we kind of feel a little uncomfortable laughing at, which always, it's like what draws us to freak shows back in the 40s and 30s.
Sure.
You're kind of a little bit perturbed by it, or you even want to laugh at it a little bit, but it's the same thing that brings people back regardless of what the character is. And if you find a character that happens to work really well, then you can continue doing more of that. And I don't know, it's just playing and seeing what people like and just delivering better the next time as much as you can. But that was a very roundabout answer to whatever you asked.
Yeah. No, but you answered it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you swept it up nice.
Yeah, all right.
All the hairs is swept up in the
Good,
thing
good,
after the
good,
haircut. You're good to go on
It's
that.
at this point where you and I write a film that would be perfect for him.
Exactly. Exactly. My question is this, like, how do you take what you're doing online and make that into like a mainstream television show?
Well, it's hard because it's a formula that's written up directly to be successful only on the internet. Like the YouTube videos are essentially the formula that I've boiled down the last 12 years or so of kind of figuring out what sells on the internet and what I've gone to. You said you guys watch my videos as a group of people in the room.
Yeah, there's like 12 of us. Yeah.
Right. I've been to parties before too where everyone's watching someone and there's a certain energy in the room when a lot of people get together and watch someone on whether it's a TV, laptop. There's a certain energy and all that energy is going to that screen on that. And whenever I go to parties like that, I always try and examine. Okay, why is everyone so entranced by this screen? This guy or girl?
Yeah.
Why are they hypnotizing everyone, and I feel like I'm always a third person in this. I feel like I'm looking at everyone watching this, and so I try and channel that. It's usually, I find that the more the subject delivers a punchline, the more frequent they say something funny and the room goes ah ha ha ha, the more that energy lingers and the more people are not going to look away from that screen.
Right.
So in my videos, I imagine that room of people, I imagine that energy, because odds are people are going to be watching like that, and I try and keep punchline. Is it visually stimulating?
Yeah,
exactly. Like
the sound, your sound design when somebody's
right.
getting their head smashed into something like
right.
It's all.
As opposed to imagine trying to drown someone by waterboarding him. I'm trying to drown him by sending a rapid whole rapid stream over their face. It's just you don't let them breathe.
Yeah, because
constant.
with your videos, they're impossible to turn off because you're going to the next character, next shot, next angle, next thing, and you're like, great.
Right.
And there's always a laugh every 3 to 4 seconds where it's like, fuck, we just kept going.
Yeah, and I think even if it's not something funny, I definitely try and put something interesting, either an interesting concept or idea or something visually stimulating, whether it's gore or beauty or something to look at.
Shit. There's a lot of times there's shit. Yeah.
Fecal matter. Yeah. In fact, Facebook recently notified my manager, and they're like, yeah, the videos are hilarious. We love. If he could stop putting as much bodily fluids in the videos. And so I had to have a bodily fluid talk, and I'm like, well, what do you mean? But well, it has. And they had to outline feces, they had to outline blood and semen, and I'm like, well, all right, I'll try. I mean,
Fine.
And when you're told no, then you suddenly realize just how much you use those fluids. I'm just like, oh damn it, we can't do that because that's pee.
Yeah. Because I had one taken down on Facebook.
Yeah.
Well, 48-hour block or whatever. It was a live birth in the background, but it was from a health video where I was just like,
and those are allowed.
Well, I had to petition and write them back and say, hey,
Yeah.
that's from a health video I watched in high school. It's not true, but it really was a health video,
Right.
from the government online, and like, it was a baby coming out of a vagina, and
They're the ones who drew those lines.
Yes.
They're, and so you're, and that's. Good on you for sticking it to them.
Yeah.
Those are their rules. If we can show a penis ejaculating inside a vagina, then I'm going to have that behind me while I do my my
exactly.
speech or
Yeah.
whatever.
Because Jared and I did a really weird one over Christmas, and he was cutting together like 2 black gay men graphically making out, lions fucking, all that shit, and you're like, all right. How far can you push this up the thing? And again, the guidelines now.
Right. Oh my God.
Which there used to not be any fucking guidelines.
Right.
I really like the kissing scene.
Yeah. Big fan of that. But I miss shit like that online. I miss it. Because that's how it used to be on the internet. Like there was no rules. Whatever you put up, and fuck it. As long as people weren't fucking on screen.
Right.
We should just all move to Live Leak.
Live Leak, is that where you can upload anything?
Yeah.
I think so, right? Yeah.
I'll just do porn characters.
Yeah.
That's
Always having sex. I miss those days of the internet where if kids stumbled upon something bad, it was the parents' fault for letting them.
Yeah, watch it. Don't.
Yeah,
watch
you're on
it.
ogrish.com. Get off there.
Yeah, exactly.
Rotten.
It's not my fault. Your parents are old and have no idea what the fuck site you're on.
Oh,
That's not
dude,
my.
he
Don't blame the creator for
Once
that.
Yeah.
invited some of his neighbors over, and then they started banging on his couch while he was busy doing
It was
something
more of a
else.
burden than it was fun. But
You
it was,
want to repeat that one more time?
it was a couch bang, neighbors, all ages. It was inclusive.
Did you watch them fuck?
Well, I had to. It was me they were fucking. It was.
Whoa!
He squirted them.
Whoa!
Not
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
someone
yeah.
while they fuck you. It's rude.
So, how many people were involved in this couch fucking?
Oh my god. Okay, so it goes on. So we 4 or 5. I like to keep it modest.
And you're all real fucking.
Just 2.
And you're all, wait, are you all really fucking?
I'm talking about the one where you invite the neighbors over that buy the house. The gay guys in the neighborhood.
Yes. I did a video where these guys come over and they want to buy a house, and my character tries to stop. It's actually a really bad video because he kills the realtor to dress up like the realtor and tell the gay couple that they can't move
That
in.
they'll ruin the neighborhood. And when he gets home, his roommate has them over for dinner.
Yeah.
And
He has
he's
to get rid of the
super
silverware.
kind of angry about it. He's like, they're just gonna start having. So he turns around and then he turns back around and they're having sex on the couch.
Right there.
Oh
So
my
it's like-
god, it's so good.
The whole video, you think my character is the bigoted one, and he thinks they're just going to be banging everywhere, when really, that's just what they do. They're just on the couch having sex. He goes in with a spray bottle like a pair of cats, spraying them out of his house.
Selfishly, like, I don't want to see you take somebody. I don't want to see somebody take you to like a network show because that would fuck up all the beautiful shit you're doing.
Right. So I have.
Like
this-
if I saw you in an NBC sitcom,
But
I'd
they
be
would
pissed
tell
off
him-
about it.
They would tell him he had to delete all that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you're
Like,
getting
if he got a network thing, they
if
would
you're
tell
getting
him to wipe
network
it.
notes, because I've sold a bunch of pilots, you get their notes are so fucking crazy, and it's over and over and over, and then they'll focus in on one line in particular, and they're like, you got to get rid of this and this and this, and you're like, fuck. By the time you guys all put your hands in the water, it's gonna be dirty as shit. Nobody's gonna drink it.
Exactly. I had a show for a couple seasons called Magic Funhouse that Super Deluxe produced. It was on the full screen
I
platform.
love Super Deluxe is fucking awesome.
They are, and what a production company to approach me. There really couldn't have been a better production company because Super Deluxe and I go hand in hand. We're both weird. We're both very strict. So this match was made in heaven, full screen when they were around at the time. The platform, they were also like us. They were the weird platform, and so the 3 of us together were like, let's make a show that's very, very, very insane. We did 2 seasons of this thing, and I decided after going forward, I think creatively, I'm just going to focus on the YouTube videos. I think for bigger stuff, it's nice to be in it or have my name attached to it as a producer. But really creatively, I like to keep it on the YouTube videos because they reach the most people. They bring the most laughs, and it's the less it's the least I'm really governed in terms of my work. Whereas, even though Magic Funhouse was Super Deluxe, we still had to pass it through all these rules of like, oh, we can't show this, or we can't do this. That's too expensive to shoot. Oh well, let's just break into a store and film it and trespass. Well, we can't trespass. It's like, okay. YouTube videos, I don't have to get permission for shit. If I want to film in a store, we go in there, we rehearse it, we get it done, we get out before they kick us out. Like,
Exactly.
Just done. It's clean and simple. With a big production company, you can't do guerrilla like that.
You can't do any of that.
You can't do shit.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm getting more views on YouTube. I don't need your company to get less views to be more restricted in what I make. Fuck you. I'm gonna make it on the internet.
And truthfully, if let's say you're taking a gig on, basic cable at some like FXX. Let's say you got you were a regular on an FXX show.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd be making as much money as you are on YouTube.
I don't think I'd be making a lot of anything as much as I am on YouTube. Views, just fan base. I think it's like unless there is a portal in this universe that opens up bigger than the gap that's the YouTube portal that I have right now. With all due respect to any other company or affiliate that wants to work with me, YouTube is always going to be, as a creator, you can't not blame me for wanting to put my work where it gets the most amount of views, where I have the most freedom as a creator, of course. So, and it all sucks. At the end of the day, you are a YouTuber by categorization, and so it's like...
and that's what's frustrating, because like a
Right.
guy like you is so fucking brilliant that like I don't want that label on you of like, oh, he's a YouTuber, but then because then it follows up with this. but you don't understand. He's so fucking
It's-
brilliant. Like
Oh,
that's because that's the next thing when you hear YouTuber. People are like, oh, you think of Jake Paul or somebody like that, and you're like, ah.
And by category, yeah, I'm the same. But lately, I've been trying to get into the comedy world. I went to the Montreal Comedy Festival this last year over the summer in Canada. And
Just for laughs, or
just for laughs, yeah.
Yeah.
And what a great crowd, because I'm so used to being, rubbing elbows with the YouTube crowd.
Yeah.
And that's just a crowd. They're great people. They're nice. We're not living in a bullied generation. That is for sure. These are the sweetest
yeah.
kids in the world.
Yeah.
And but that's just not who I am. I went to Montreal just for laughs. And these are people who had wit just down to the very basic core of their conversation. These are people who I just felt like I was among.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy is every comedian friend I have
Yeah.
doesn't create.
No.
Like, and I'm like,
Because they can't write
you're
and they
brilliant.
can't direct.
So,
yeah.
like, you're
yeah.
funny. Why aren't you filming this every day?
I have several people that I'm a big fan of. I really love Sacha Baron Cohen, Adam Sandler. I'm not the hugest fan of his work, but I very much respect that he does something new every year. I think that's great that he's working on something, and the consistency of that is something I try to emulate a lot.
Yeah,
So-
the thing with like Sacha Baron Cohen, because I'm a huge fan, and I think
No.
to me personally, him and Danny McBride, comedian wise,
Yeah.
are the last two that came out that were completely fresh and original.
Right,
Because they
right.
usually try to stifle that, where it's
Yeah.
like a Josh Gad. They wait for
Oh.
a Josh Gad to come around, where it's just like he's safe,
James
he's fat,
Franco.
he's funny. Well, Franco's different because he's always doing weird shit across the board. Like
Right.
he'll do a soap opera for a year, and you're like, why are you doing Young and the Restless?
Right.
Like, and then I'll switch over and do the artists, and
I just did a show with James. He has a show on the Black Pills network, making a scene.
yeah.
And I was in it. He cast me in that. I guess
You were
he-
probably shocked of like, what? Wait, what?
It was very strange.
Yeah.
He added a scene where I crowd surfed on set. There's a crowd, and I'm in the crowd, and he needs to crowd surf over everyone, and no one quite knew how to pick me up, and so he was like demonstrating, and he's like lifting me up over this crowd. It was the weirdest experience because I was there for one day, and that was pretty much it. James Franco showed me how to crowd surf. But no, he's great because I watch him how he directs and everything. And it's there's certain things that I do when I'm directing that I'm like, oh, that's so amateur. Oh, that's so, I hate that I do this all the time. And then I see someone like him do the same thing, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, yeah,
maybe
yeah.
it's not as terrible. I'm not as I think I am. And so it was very inspiring to watch him direct because he does a lot of the stuff I thought was something I shouldn't be doing. So
Would you ever consider directing and editing something for somebody else?
never.
Great.
Probably ever.
Yeah, and I love that you said that. And why? Tell the audience why.
Because it's writing and directing. It's like, would you ever raise a kid that's not yours and you have to give up eventually, and essentially someone else will take the credit? It's like, no, if you're gonna raise a kid, that's your kid. For me, that's how I feel. If I'm gonna pour something into, it's better be something that belongs to me, that I've written into. Hopefully I'm in. I got into directing because I wanted to be an actor and no one would cast me. And I saw YouTube, I'll cast myself in these things.
Sure.
Yeah, I have had people hit me up to direct ads for like companies and stuff. They don't want me in it. It's not my thing, but they want me to. They like how I cut stuff together.
Yeah, your pacing is great on your videos.
Well, it also has this almost uneasy action to it, where you're stressed out.
yeah.
No, that's how you're supposed to feel. It's there is a cadence when you watch stuff. Film is like music. There is a rhythm to it. People don't understand it, but you notice it when there's a gap between
26
someone.
cuts per minute. Like that was an old.
Is that what it was?
That was an old school saying. Yeah.
For
Yeah.
me. Oh, sorry. What was that?
Yeah, just to keep the audience.
Yeah.
You have to keep cutting,
Right.
because if you just stay fixated for
And it
too
got
long.
it started in music videos, and that's why, where it was just like to make them exciting. Because otherwise you're just looking at a 4-minute song, and it's like, how do we keep people interested?
Right. Yeah, we don't realize it when we watch stuff, but there is sort of a perceptive orchestra in our minds that the slightest thing could disinterest us, and we subconsciously don't even realize what it is. I mean, we don't think that watching a shot go on for 10 seconds could bore you, but it does. You don't know why, but you want to look away.
Right.
And so, my whole video, my whole concept is playing with that element of, okay, how do I distract them in a different way these next 5 seconds, and how different way.
What directors are you keen on? Like
John
that you-
Waters is a big one. He is known for his stuff from the 90s, but I love the stuff he did in the 60s. He was a very rebellious director from Baltimore.
Yep. Still is.
And,
Like
still
he's
is
still
quite
one of the most rebellious guys on the planet. He just still will say whatever the fuck he wants to say.
Yeah, he's 80-something years old and just did a hitchhike. He just hitchhiked across America so he could write a book about the country and what it's like from the point of view of a hitchhiker. This guy is insane, and his films back in the 60s and 70s were, his friends and him getting together, smoking pot, writing these elaborate scripts and shooting them with no money. And to this day, they're very shocking films. I mean, he wanted something that stood the test of time, and it certainly did. And yeah, so directing wise, I mean, vision wise, I am very synonymous with him. I would never cut something together like what he makes, but I love the concept of what drove him to be a director.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And on the actor side, who is it? Who's your jam these days?
I have to say, Sasha, Jeff Goldblum, I really love.
Oh God, I bet you do a Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum.
You look
like a young Goldblum.
You like a young
People tell
Goldblum.
me I look like Goldblum, especially if I'm wearing my glasses. He's someone who's. What I admire about him is that he could be himself anywhere he is, and it's entrancing enough.
Yeah.
And
have you ever met him?
Oh no, I haven't.
He was supposed to be casted in Range 15, actually.
Yeah.
He was
really?
going to play the lawyer.
He was going to play the lawyer initially,
and
and
Shatner got it.
Wow.
yeah. Goldblum was doing something big. I want to say Jurassic Park or something
Well,
like that.
he was just in the new Thor.
Oh, okay.
He was great.
Yeah. So he's doing a bunch of big shit, but I ran into him at a fucking party once.
Oh yeah.
And not in a good circumstance. He was hitting on my girlfriend. I went to this premiere in Vegas, and I came back, and Jeff Goldblum is hitting on my girlfriend.
Oh wow.
And I was like, jokingly, I walked up and I was like, "What the fuck, Goldblum?" And he goes, "What? What? Is this your girlfriend? Oh, I'm sorry." Like that. And I was just like,
he never.
and it was
turned
totally
off.
Jeff Goldblum, and I was like, I looked at my girlfriend, and she was like, "It's Jeff Goldblum," and I was like, "Of course it's Goldblum. Like, let
here's
it
the
go." And I was like,
Here's the thing.
I told him at the end of the conversation, I was like, "It's totally cool. You're Jeff Goldblum. Like, you can hit on anybody you want." And he goes, "Yeah, I kind of feel like that."
He's very self-aware.
Yeah.
He's very self-aware.
He's very self-aware who he is. He's a funny guy, a nice guy. You're the way you carry yourself is a lot like Goldblum.
I think I get that from a lot of people. What's funny is I haven't even seen a lot of stuff that he's done. I know him mostly because people tell me, like, "Here, look at this clip that he's in." They'll send me a video from a scene of a movie that he's in. It looks just like you in this. And so I'm like, I'm happy it's him. It could be anyone else.
Yeah.
So I'm like, at least it's Jeff. But no, in terms of actors, I don't know. I'm always fascinated by whoever I'm fascinated by in the moment. I go through phases. In high school, I had that Johnny Depp phase that I feel like everyone has a small Johnny Depp phase. Like, oh, he's,
yes.
Everyone.
Yep.
I don't know.
Mine was pre Pirates of the Caribbean.
Same here.
Like that was my favorite.
Ed
yes.
Woodish phase.
That was my favorite Depp phase. The rest to me is just playing Halloween costumes.
It's pretty, yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I'm a pirate. Oh, I'm Alice in Wonderland. Oh, it's
Right.
great. Oh, yeah.
Let's see what other kooky Cat in the
Yeah.
Hat-ish type character I can be. Yeah, I don't know. I've always found Christopher Walken to be a very interesting guy. Really, just any actor who carries themselves. They walk into a room and they're just that's them. That's, that's who they are. And I've always felt most out of my skin when I'm myself. I love playing characters because I get to create an absurdity and send it off in one direction very, very hard, and I don't have to take any of the consequence for anything they say or do because that's them. I have to take all the consequence for everything that comes out of my mouth personally. So I don't know. Yeah.
Do your sketches overall get a lot of hateful comments, or because you've pushed it too far? I could definitely see that, but I don't sit there and I don't take the time to go through somebody else's comments. I'll watch the video and I'm good on that. Like I don't need to.
You think I would? I thought I would by now. I certainly thought that every person who is big on the internet has a following of some percentage, marginally of haters.
Yes.
And I don't. And I'm not saying this to welcome. If anyone's listening to this and wants to hate me because they're bored, I'm not welcoming that at all. I'm just saying I've been lucky enough to.
Well, I think you've covered all bases. I mean,
I think
just in the surgery episode alone. I mean, you went trans, black, Asian,
Oh yeah. We cover everything. And, I think it's hard to tell for a lot of people to tell if I'm conservative or liberal because they can't tell my preference because I really don't have one. I'm really.
And that's what makes it great. You're not thinking about that when you're watching it. You're just like, there's a brilliant comedian. I have no fucking idea what this guy does in real life. Like, if somebody could have told me either you were super rich or you lived in a fucking box, like there is no in between, like, because I don't know, nobody knows anything about it watching your sketches.
Yeah, it's funny because people don't. They act like everyone has their own version of who I am in real life because I rarely ever show, like, I'm rarely appearing outside of character. And there are fan fictions on sites that sell like short story. What are those? I can't think of any off the top of my head. But where you go and buy novels that people have written, you could read them. And there's all sorts of fan fictions of like a night with Brandon Rogers or my date with Brandon Rogers.
Oh, is that why you made that video?
And
a date with Brandon Rogers.
And it's funny because I'll read some of these and they paint me in it's like 50 Shades of Grey style, and they get
really
and they get very, very erotic. And most of them consist of my ability to shapeshift into other people. So it's like a lot of them are like role playing type scenarios. I think it's very, very. I've read probably 2 of them, but they were both equally. Kind of disturbing because you're picturing yourself in the scenario. You're like, oh, I would not say that.
Fans are writing books about him.
That's amazing.
In erotic settings.
There and the only 2 that I've read were both quite sexual, and it's interesting because I think if I was a girl and these were men who were writing these about like.
Oh, it'd be a Me Too moment in a second.
Different.
Yeah,
because I'm reading about how big my penis is, and I'm reading about how I use my penis. And someone wrote this.
Is this a female that wrote it?
Well, I would imagine so. They certainly know their own body. If it's a male, they certainly knows his way around a girl's.
Yeah.
I mean, it was written from the perspective. At least one of them was from a first-person perspective from whoever I was plowing.
Oh wow!
Apparently,
wow.
So yeah.
And so this is a thing.
Yeah. To confirm it, these aren't true stories, right?
These are not true. They're fan fictions.
Okay.
Yes, I have not done any of these. If I did, I would be bragging because I was quite great in what I've read.
Yeah. That's a big one.
Yeah.
No, this is a really good way for us to troll Bert.
That'd be great.
We could write under different male names,
pseudonyms.
Yes. Yeah. And then send Bert the link of just a male writing about just digging Bert out.
Yeah,
like
just
night.
really fucking squat humping him in the middle of the forest. Where it's just like,
he would drive him crazy.
It would be.
Oh, this is perfect. We always try and figure out ways to fuck with Bert.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
We could add this to our literary resumes.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. That'd be a really good one.
Oh, wow.
I wrote the first ever romance novel for dudes, so it wouldn't be hard.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's super graphic.
I'll have to get my hands on this.
It's as crazy as...
I would recommend the audiobook.
Oh,
because
so
he does
fucked.
it in character with actors.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so it's like watching a 9-hour movie in your head.
And it's like some of the most graphic sex of all time, and like just him killing people and cheating on his wife and doing drugs all the time, and like it's one of those people who doesn't have like a filter, so it just doesn't end all the way through, where it's just like, if he beats somebody up, he gets buck naked because he wants to show
the most
dominance.
Extreme version of how he can operate.
Yeah, if you were to write a romance novel for a
dude,
it is nothing but orgies and killing people.
And drugs, and that's,
It sings to my heart.
Yeah, and it's prostitutes, like you name it, like it's endless.
Oh my God.
Fucking people's wives in front of them, but in graphic detail. Like, he'll describe tying somebody up by a stove, opening up the stove, turning it on so it gets even hotter in there. So this guy's got to be sweating while he's tied up on the floor, watching this other man fucking fuck his wife, sweating, and goes into graphic description.
How many is this? This is a saga, or is it
So the second one comes out this summer, and like the first one was put out by Simon and Schuster. So like,
a lot of people must say that he's twisted for writing this. I have to say it must be extremely cathartic. He must be one of the most level-headed people if he's writing this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Totally normal.
Yeah,
totally normal.
They always are. Stephen King, one of the most chill dudes you'd ever meet, probably.
Oh yeah, of all time.
You're just getting all that shit out of you.
Do you have any plans for movies? Like do you ever write scripts for films?
I have a concept for a movie that I want to make, but not until I'm much bigger. I wouldn't want to release it anytime now at least. But I always thought it would be funny, to do a film where I fall into the world where my characters are real, and I have to live among them, and then I escape, and then they come out the other side and destroy the planet.
That'd be awesome.
And I always thought that'd be kind of crazy. And they meet like the real life people they were inspired by, and like they I always thought that would be a really
That
trippy
would be
movie.
fucking great.
Yeah. And so and it would be the most violent and gruesome thing. Like no one would want to produce it. So
Yeah.
but I don't know. Whatever. I love stories that have no prior. You don't need to have any prior knowledge to this to enjoy this particular story. So anything that's just simple about family or two people on the road. I love simple stories that just can become very ugly very quickly.
Yeah.
Human Centipede was one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Well, have you seen Teeth?
Oh my God, yeah, Teeth.
There we go.
Rubber.
Rubber.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what was it? Antichrist?
Oh yeah.
Bloody
William
hand
Dafoe.
job. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
God, yeah.
Yeah,
Ugh.
that's haunted me. I haven't seen that in like 10 years.
I don't know why. Yeah,
And I still can picture the bloody hand job.
Well, yeah, it's the bloody ejaculation.
It's the
because
jacket. She smashes
she
his balls.
smashes it
Yeah.
with a piece of wood and then jerks him off and he comes blood.
I bet you the writer's session for that was sounded exactly like this right now. They were like, and then she's gonna step on his nuts and then just go, oh.
Yeah, because I've read, and the reason I ask about the movie is I have read great fucking hardcore scripts in this town that just cannot get made because they're too fucked up and graphic. And it was like, there was one that Sacha Baron Cohen was attached to for a while called Pierre. And it's about this thin French guy who just smokes all day, and he's just the worst person in the world. And like the opening scene is him fucking this girl in a bed, like a twin bed in France, so hard it's just bashing up against the wall, and like she's moaning, screaming, and then as it pans up, he's just smoking this cigarette that's like got this long ash right over her face, and he's just like, he just looks at her and he goes, I came, and then he just gets up and leaves, and you're like, Jesus Christ. And that's the opening of the movie.
Oh wow, and that was going to be Sasha.
It was going to be Sasha, and then it moved on to like Jim Carrey, and because they just couldn't get it made through the studios. But like, there's a ton of shit out there like that exists.
Yeah.
That I'm like, fuck, man. Like, you would be perfect in something like that.
Oh, and I was talking to my camera guy about this. We were saying there's so many things that get buried every day in this city. And
Yes.
I think a lot of people who aren't from here, they don't realize that, but all of the amazing, think about what amazing movies come out every year, you know, or every few years. Think about all those other amazing scripts that just never even got to see the light of day.
I know. And what I did was I started saving them. So like, I have a treasure trove of these amazing films that never got made, but they're fucked. Where it's just like, it's like somebody gave me, I don't know who this was, but and if you're listening, thank you for giving it to me. It was a script called Danny Boxes. And it's Stallone. It's like a remake of Rocky, sort of, but it's this shitty guy who lives in New Jersey and just all he does is take his girlfriend to Olive Garden every night, and he's a boxer. And he's just like, Danny, you should get back in shape. And he does this terrible Stallone accent the entire time. And like, you should get back in the ring or whatever. He's like, I think I'm going to train. I think I'm going to train, He wants to marry his waitress girlfriend at the Olive Garden. But he's chunky. And they show this montage of him for like 20 minutes training in this fucking movie and all this shit. And then he gets ready to go for the championship fight. He's still chunky. Nothing ever happened to him. Like, and it's fucked. But the script in it had this phrase, fag shit. So his response to everything was, they were like, Danny, we want you to do this. He's like, no, it's fag shit. Fag shit. And they told this writer, like, hey, you got to pull the fag shit, like, over and over. And he's just like, no, that's what the character says all the time because he lives in this small town in New Jersey. And it was just like, that was another one that I tucked away where it was like, oh my God. So there's nothing great. And he doesn't win the championship. He doesn't win the fight at the end. Like, it just goes back to his horrible life. And he just gets the shit kicked out of him in this championship match. And it's just goodness. Yeah.
Well, the hero's journey isn't a journey if there's no destination.
Right. Well, his destination is he's back in New Jersey at this Olive Garden. So like, he never leaves this Olive Garden throughout the movie.
The Olive Garden? And I apologize to anyone who, if you're working at Olive Garden, it's probably temporary. You're not going to retire there. But I have to say this: why is there something so sad about Olive? Oh yes, but she's moonlighting at the Olive Garden. It's like this. That's where a sad character works.
It is, because Olive Garden is like dimly lit.
Yes.
Yep. It's like the just stale
Chianti on the
breadsticks.
table that's maybe not been drinking in 3 years.
Right. It's the saddest nice restaurant or the nicest sad restaurant. There's something, so it's like a middle ground restaurant that makes it kind of, it's not like you were saying, oh yeah, I work at a Denny's. Obviously, it's depressing. There's something like it's just depressing enough about an Olive Garden.
And they say the Olive Garden.
The Olive
I work
Garden,
at the Olive Garden.
When you're here, your family, because you probably don't have any.
Yeah.
Right?
And I talked to a waitress about it after I read that script. I was just like, what? Because the waitress hates her life in this fucking thing. And I was like, what's the fucking story with this? Like, why? What do you? And she was like, dude, if you had to fucking serve endless breadsticks to people and salad over and over, and all they do is can I have another basket over here? One more time. And you're just like, fuck, man. And then you're making like $6 as your tip, like, and you're filling up these people with never-ending bowls of pasta, bread, and salad. Like,
you might as well work at a farm. You probably make more money.
Yeah,
just feeding those things.
It's a hard where they're just like, when you have to go back to the same table 80 times to give them their refills on all of their shit, like. Because that's their whole setup of Olive Garden, of like, endless salad, endless breadsticks.
It's not healthy. That's not how. Anyone who's listening to this, I've never lived in Italy, but I can imagine that that's not how they live. They don't just,
in Italy. Yeah.
That is not the Italian way. It can't be. It can't be.
If you go though, like on Google and just like Google Olive Garden Italy, it does pop up where there's some thing there that's like an academy or like something. Yeah. And I was like, man, did they just put that there to like throw people off? So like you could Google it and be like, oh yeah, the real Olive Garden really was in Italy.
I wonder if they
the
have
Olive
an
Garden
American.
Academy.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have an American knockoff, like some cheap chain restaurant, like the Sesame Bun or some shit like that's like
that would be funny.
Just really
in Italy,
our food. Oh gosh.
I want to entice the people that listen to us that have not seen him on YouTube to go there. So you want to give Ross some of your characters here.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, what's a good?
The detention teacher, red hair.
Helen Brown's. She says it always helps when I have the costume on because then the character comes out. So it's weird when.
Yeah.
She kind of talks, I guess, a little like this. She's a miserable asshole. and
That's like when you which one of you little assholes shaved my head?
Oh yeah, which one of you assholes? I shaved my head and she colored it blue. I don't remember half the shit from my videos.
I don't need. By the way, I'm the same way. I'll shoot it, get it up, and then it's gone from my head. I don't remember the lines, the people.
Right.
We were doing characters last night. You're like, do the one front. I was like, man, I forgot it.
It's gone.
I'm with you on that.
It's they're all different, and not all of the accents. I had to like learn. I had to learn like Helen's accent. I would just go on YouTube and how to talk like I'm from Austria and listen to that. And it's just when I'm in the car, just anytime I'm alone, speak like that and try as much. I had to learn the Austrian accent. I do a blind guy. He's a fashion designer. Who is blind, and he owns this fashion empire. We have Iron Fist apparel, which here in LA they let us use their factory. And so I said, I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna play. I told the owner, I said, I'm gonna play you essentially. I own this company, and I'm a blind guy from Austria. And so he's like, this feels like a purple to me. I said, no purples. That is for my spring collection. And like he's always very, just driving the staff to do terrible things, and they don't listen to. They're actually making good apparel, and he thinks that they're doing his designs, which are just kind of scribbles. And
a lot of lawsuits on the Braille line.
A lot of lawsuits. Okay. He had a line of clothing where it was like it says like sexy, but it's in Braille or something like that. A lot of the characters they have like one trait about them, and I just kind of hone the whole character based off of that one obsession or flaw or whatever it is. There's I think there's like 20 something of them.
You're like a modern, like you're like the male version of like a Tracy Ullman, like an aggressive Tracy Ullman, where it's just
you gotta be. I feel like every decade there's a new kind of aggression that's needed. I feel like
I feel the same way.
In the early 2000s we had a lot of Jackass and Punk'd, and we had a lot of this sort of reality was the big thing. Look at this big and now then YouTube came out, everything's reality, so what's the next thing? Well, now it's kind of going back to characters scripted, a lot of just controlled shock, that humor. And I feel like every year, every 10 years or so, it's a different shouting contest on the internet or just in entertainment in general. So it's fun. I like it. I enjoy, I have very little limit to what I would be willing to do on camera.
Yeah.
Because it's comedy.
I'll give you this. One of my favorite things that I've ever seen you do is just the level of depth in everything. But the opening scene of Mom's Day Out, where the porn you're watching is even you on the screen.
It's your own porn. Yeah.
Well, I figured, like, can they ding me for if I'm fucking myself? Now, is
Did
that?
they?
It's still up. It's still up. It is. I believe it's demonetized, but it's still up.
They do demonetize those.
They do, but it's not age restricted. So anyone can still watch me fucking. And that's what I open it with. That's the very first shot.
Yeah.
I'll show you that clip.
I've seen it. I've
after
seen that
this,
video. I love it.
I want to show you the celebration video he did, because that one's so deep, it's out of control.
We've done a lot of really bad things to get the video. Some of those videos, I mean, but I wouldn't trade any. I would do it exactly the same way, if not even more so, if I had to do it again.
For sure. How many video are you putting up? One a week? What's your schedule like?
I do about one a week.
He has over 250 on his channel.
Holy fuck! How long are they?
I've just done a series now where it's 20 episodes, and those average about 6 minutes. But usually my standalone videos are about 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
2.5 is like that length where it's like it's not too long. Like I'll sit through the whole 2.5 minutes. But if I like it enough, I'll rewatch it. So It's like just long enough where you can make up your mind. Do I want to sit through this again? And most people, if they're alone, they usually do watch, because there's so much that I try and jam in there. They can't possibly get every single joke the first time around. So I just try and throw a bunch of confusion and colors and comedy in their face and hope they choke the right way and watch it and want more.
Yeah. Well, now's the point in the show where we get to the Drinkin' Bro of the week. I think you were back there before. I'm going to switch it for you, actually.
Okay.
Instead of somebody that was influential, I want to go an actor or a performance or a movie, something that really influenced your comedy. Because it's, again, you're one of the breakout people to me where I was just like, shit, I haven't seen a guy like this in a few years. Like, it's got to be somebody weird or out there. Like,
I have to. I would like to attribute it to a group of people that I very much. The cast of Mad TV during the, I want to say 2001, 2002 season, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Circa 2000. Actually, more maybe 2003. I want to say.
Will Sasso and those guys?
Will Sasso was on his way out.
Okay.
But Will Sasso is one of them. Basically, Stephanie Weir, Michael McDonald, that whole group, I feel like was super underrated. I mean,
they were. Michael McDonald was great.
Oh, he just directed something that was shot at my apartment building last year, and I got to see him, and it was just like seeing like a childhood hero.
Yeah.
He is. But that whole cast, if you watch the sketches, I don't think the sketches were the best written, by any means, but you see what those cast members pour out on camera, and it's palpable as shit. They go full out in a sketch in ways that, no hate, but SNL cast has not, I don't feel like has gone as far as, I mean, the Mad TV cast really were they were like the rebel sketch comedy troupe back then, and so when I watch their performances, they are a huge inspiration. I see how full out they go. I mean, throwing up on each other and the way they sing and dance, and they go, So I would want to be a performer of their caliber or stamina, if not more.
Me personally, I already think you're there. I already think you're there. I know Jared does, and we can't thank you enough for being on the show. I have a feeling, and this is to anybody watching or listening at home, I have a feeling this is one of those guys where you're going to look back in 4 or 5 years and be like, holy fuck, that they interviewed that guy. Like, he was on the fucking show.
I know.
And now he's in prison.
Yeah, exactly. It was so surprising when he raped that bear. Like, I didn't see it coming, but
neither did the bear.
No, I really hope this summer we have something that we can all fucking do together.
Oh, that would be great. I have a feeling this is going to be a good year. Yeah.
I did too. And it's it's just, we need more people like you making shit. But I don't know if they're invented anymore. Like, I don't know anybody. I literally don't know anybody else who's making shit like you. Like no one.
I say, given 10 years, I think we'll start heading in that direction again. I think we'll be.
I hope
Sketch comedy is not dead.
I think to continue it's got to be without execs and all that shit, or you're gonna get bogged down or thrown out. Like
execs can be a dicey area. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
For sure.
Heather, I want to say how great it was having you on the show.
Yeah, I've
You were
contributed a lot to this conversation.
box
You're
full
very
of life.
welcome for my presence
A box
today.
full of life, and whoever you were texting over and over again. God bless both of them, and I hope you guys have a lovely life together. Brandon Rogers, check him out. Where can people find you on Instagram?
Oh, Brandon Board. Like I'm bored. I'm not bored here.
No,
but
no.
on Instagram, I am Brandon Board. Yeah.
Brandon Board, and then just Brandon Rogers on YouTube.
Just Brandon Rogers. Yeah. You know, it's casual. If you want to look me up, look me up. If not, don't. And I'm
Don't.
performing.
Yeah.
And April, I'm going to be in Texas and New York doing.
Are you really?
Yes.
Where in
We'll
Texas?
We're going to try and make it out to the Texas show.
Yeah, I'm gonna
in
be in-
force, too.
Because they're moving to Texas.
4 or 5 of the people that work at our office were like, hey, Brandon's coming to Houston.
Yeah, I'm coming to Houston. I'm coming to Addison.
When are you in Houston? What day?
April.
It is April 21st, I believe.
Okay.
I could be wrong. April 21st and the 22nd, I believe I'm in Addison. So yeah, and then in New York, April 14th.
There's a huge Drinkin' Bros chapter in Houston of about 2,000 people. So
There is, yeah.
we'll bring them all.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would love to drink with those bros. I would.
Oh, dude, it'll go all night.
Oh,
it'll
I-
go all
Yeah,
fucking
tonight
night.
we have the Southern California meetup.
Well, I might crash it. You know.
Yeah, come on
Yes.
out. Come on
I'll
out. We'd
give you
love
the
to have
address.
you.
It's right down the road here.
And to anybody out there listening or watching, please go to Brandon Rogers' channel and Instagram. Support him so we can have more people like him in the world.
Oh.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having
Mr.
me.
Jared Taylor. Heather, again,
Yeah.
so much. You
Fucking-
just crushed this episode.
God damn it. Ross.
Brandon Rogers, I am Ross Patterson. Good night, everyone.